It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with part 2 of Larry Bird, Beyond the Glory. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You can subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me, human, talk back. Oh, you got Larry.
Larry Bird arrived in Terre Haute knowing he would have to sit out the season due to an NCAA ruling that prohibits transfers from playing. During his scrimmages with head coach Bob King's varsity, however, his talent lit up the gym.
He could practice, and our first 5 couldn't beat him. Coach King said, Larry, I've got to do something to let the first 5 win once in a while. They can't win as long as you're in there. And you know, Larry kind of smirked and he said, well, just let them take their beating like a man.
As a sophomore, Bird took charge, averaging 33 points and 13 rebounds as the Sycamores went 25-3. But it wasn't until the start of his junior year that the kid from French Lick emerged at the national level.
Larry always says the turning point for him was when Sports Illustrated put him on the cover and they had 2 cheerleaders around him saying, shh, the best kept secret in college basketball. Well, not anymore.
Once that came out in the stands, from that point on, it seemed like to me the next year was just total chaos. We had reporters from all over the country, and it seemed like every day somebody wanted me to do something for them. So from that point on, it was very tough.
They quoted him as saying one of his teachers had helped him get ready for a test. She was tutoring him, and they made it look like she gave him the test or gave him the grade and misquoted him. And
that's why I can't stand some of the media that's like that, bro. Is frustratingly ridiculous. They twist and turn everything you say, and that's probably why Larry didn't want to talk to him, hated talking to the media, because he already knows how they operate.
He loved that teacher. Oh, he was so upset. He told Bob King, if I come back next year, I don't have to talk with the press. Bob said, it's fine with me.
The rest of the team, nobody would ask any questions to it. And Larry felt bad about that because he was very team-oriented. And I think he shut himself off from the media more to build the team and to get the reporters talking to other players.
In his junior season, the All-American Bird led Indiana State to a 23-9 record. Red Auerbach selected him with the 6th pick in the NBA draft.
I can remember somebody telling me I was just drafted by the Boston Celtics, and I was saying, what are you talking about? I had absolutely no clue that they even had a draft that day.
I said to Brett, why would you draft this guy, Bird, and you know he's not going to play for this season? And he looked at me and he said, do you know how short a period of time a year is?
With the Celtics holding his rights for a year, Bird returned to Indiana State as a senior. As the Sycamores went through the 1979 regular season undefeated, the Bird legend grew.
He is the pick of the pros, and yes, his fame still grows. Every fan across the land has heard. It's not the Cardinal now. Hey, Larry, take a bow. Indiana has a new state bird.
I love it.
I mean, we watched them all year long coming along, and we kind of thought, you know, well, as soon as they get to the tournament, then we'll find out the real thing. And somehow they just kept winning.
In the semifinals of the NCAA tournament, Indiana State defeated DePaul 76-74. Then, in television's highest-rated final, Bird led the #1 ranked 33-0 Sycamores against Michigan State and his future nemesis.
Magic couldn't wait to give you the best smile and say, how are you, make you feel good. Larry Bird would rather say, don't even say hi to me. I'd rather not get involved with this.
I did not like Larry Bird. He didn't like me. Not because, you know, something happened, but because we were both going after the same thing.
Overmatched by the larger, more talented Spartans, Indiana State lost 75-64 as Bird was frustrated by a collapsing defense. Committing 6 turnovers, he shot 7 of 21 and scored 19 points to Magic's 24.
They'll always be linked, won't they? And that's part of the beauty of sports. From that '79 NCAA championship, it's pretty hard to say Larry Bird without thinking of Magic Johnson.
Winning.
And I love that because I love those two being linked, man, because those two saved the NBA, and those two pushed each other to limits they didn't think they could reach. And so I love that those two were
College Player of the Year, Bird finished his career as the 5th all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I history. While awaiting the outcome of contract negotiations, he visited Boston.
He came to a game, and everybody started standing up, clapping, and I'm thinking, like, what in the hell is going on here? This guy didn't even play the game. They don't even know what he's about, but they just think that, he's going to be the difference.
June 8, 1979, Bird officially landed in Boston and signed the NBA's richest rookie contract ever, $3.25 million over 5 years.
Bird, slap pass to Archibald.
I never dreamed that Larry Bird was that good a defensive player. I never dreamed that Larry Bird was that good a rebounder. And I never dreamed that he was that good a passer. I also didn't know that he would always play hurt.
After watching him play, I said, somebody went into a cave in French Lick, Indiana, found this cake of ice, started chipping away, and out popped this prehistoric old-time basketball player. He played like the old-timers played, with his head.
With the 6'9" Bird at forward, the Celtics were reborn, raising their victories from 29 to 61 in a single season.
That's literally insane. That is literally insane.
They reached the 1980 Eastern Finals. Bird averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists to beat Magic for Rookie of the Year honors. Over the next decade, their rivalry would charge the league with new life.
21 to 5, Rookie Year.
When Larry Bird and Magic Johnson entered the NBA in the fall of 1979, the league was in trouble. The finals were not televised in prime time. Part of the reason was image.
There were articles during that time, is the NBA too black? I think there were issues, the Knicks had an all-black team. That didn't sit too well with some people.
If you asked me then, I would say the NBA would have folded by now. Because in the 70s, you could have bought any team, man. Any of those teams were less than 500,000. Few teams were making money. No major sponsors.
Athletically, it turned around when we drafted Larry Bird. Here he came, quote unquote, the savior. So happened this guy's white, East Boston, South Boston, people could relate to him. And, Larry Bird is a great white hope.
The racial component of that was so powerful. Bird was the first great white ball player in a number of years. Playing for Boston, a town which had a terrible reputation for race relations going back to the busing crisis of the 70s.
White people who have seen black people dominate basketball for so long are heartened to see Larry Bird out there able to compete. Larry gave some people who are maybe more narrow-minded about it a reason to watch the NBA again and feel good about themselves.
Here he was out there with a quarter of black guys out there talking trash with him, and the rest of the fellas are sitting there going, hey, the boy bad, what can you say? And I think what America saw in this guy was somebody who really didn't see race.
When I was in the 7th, 8th grade, we always had this basketball court there that a lot of the guys that worked at the hotel would be over there, and they always let me play in their games. They were all black players. Every time I got off that bus, it seemed like they were waiting on me to get there. So when I started playing basketball, whether it be college or pros, I always felt like I fit in.
Two people.
I love that. And seeing all these different videos about Larry Bird, he really didn't see race. Larry didn't care about any of that. Larry just wanted to play basketball. And Larry wanted to be the best at it.
The college or pros, I always felt like I fit in.
Two people so matched came along at the same time. And of course there was the black-white thing. And of course that's what fascinated everybody. And not just the black-white thing, but the white country boy, black city boy.
Both of those men brought an unselfishness and a winning attitude and a quality to the league that began to become contagious.
We started getting tons and tons of coverage. We went from playing late night on TV to playing prime time.
These two guys generate huge television revenues and start the process of resuscitating the NBA from a league that was hemorrhaging money in many cities to a league that could start to garner big contracts from the television networks.
If the highly charged court dynamics of Bird and Magic ignited the NBA's resurgence in the early 80s, it was the competitive tradition between their teams that provided the contest.
The Lakers and the Celtics really didn't like each other. One was seen as a low post, grinded out, quote, quote, white team, and the other was seen as a Showtime, run it up, quote, quote, black team.
Oh my God.
And it kept fans attracted to it.
It was like Athens and Sparta. You had the absolute glitz capital of the world, and then an intellectual capital, a blue-collar town. It is the old world. And when the two of them clashed, it really felt like I missed out on World War II, so here's the closest thing I'm going to see.
Bird's Celtics and Magic's Lakers met in the finals 3 times. In their first clash in 1984, Boston trailed 2-1 after dropping Game 3 by 33 points. Bird was furious in defeat.
Well, we just played like a bunch of women tonight. We got some great players on this team, but we don't have the players with the heart sometimes that we need. Until we get our hearts where they belong, we're in trouble.
He knew we were going to respond. Now, guys, let's relax, go out and take care of business. And we did.
Behind a re-energized Boston team, Bird averaged 28 points and 16 rebounds over the rest of the series as Boston won the title in 7 games. Magic and the Lakers rebounded to beat Bird's Celtics in the 1985 and 87 finals. In 37 NBA duels, Magic held a 22-15 edge over Bird. But behind their on-court battles, the two started to let their guards down as early as 1984 at a taping for a Converse sneaker commercial.
I heard Converse made a pair of Bird shoes for last year's MVP.
Yep.
But they made a pair of Magic shoes for this year's MVP.
Okay, Magic, show me what you got.
A lot of people see Magic and they see this big Showtime and all this stuff, but
I love these two, man. Absolutely love these two.
But I didn't see any of that day. I seen the real Magic Johnson.
In between the takes, we get a chance to talk. And the dialogue is going great, because this is really the first time we got a chance to talk to each other.
We were just sitting there talking about everything in the world instead of basketball.
They couldn't even get us back out on the court to shoot the commercial.
Actually, that day, I see him as Irvin Johnson, not Magic Johnson.
We're in Los Angeles, and I got a pulled hamstring. So I'm not playing tonight. He walks down to me. Man, I'm sorry you're not playing. But he said, I'm going to tell you what. Since you're here, I'm going to put a show on for you. So you just sit back and watch, okay? And I'm like, man, get out of my face, man. I want to hear that. You know, that's Celtics and the Lakers. Every time he hit one, he look at me. Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers.
They're walking hand in hand into history together. And it's no accident that when Magic announced that he had the AIDS virus, that Bird broke down and cried, teared up, couldn't talk.
To the greatest basketball player ever, but more important, a friend forever.
Absolutely.
It's been a great honor to be out here. There's only one place I'd rather be, French Lick.
Early in his NBA career, Larry Bird's sense of disconnection from his life in French Lick often was expressed in a guarded response to the press.
I was in an elevator with him in Phoenix, and I turned to him and said, "Congratulations on such a good rookie season, Mr. Bird." And he turned away from me. I mean, I scared him. He couldn't deal with someone like me, an outsider who was better dressed, who seemed to represent a world that was threatening to him.
But in time, Bird learned to control the presence of reporters.
The media begs off with Larry because they're very afraid of him. They're afraid to somehow or another infuriate him. They're afraid to ask the tough questions. He somehow or another has that way of intimidating the media as he intimidated players.
He's never said to me at any point in our conversations off the record. And I asked him once about that. I said, well, you know, why don't you ever hold back? Why don't you say off the record to me? He says, I don't care what you write. I don't read it.
Bird's unwillingness to back down from the media was an extension of his aggressiveness on the court.
Bird fights Kareem, slings the elbow, and now is yelling at Larry Bird.
You could never back down.
Jaw to jaw.
Once you do, people look at you different. You had to stand up for everything you believed in, and even if it's the one playing basketball, if somebody took the gloves off and wanted to go, you had to go. If you didn't, there's no use playing.
Bird's hard nose was never more visible than during a 1984 game with the 76ers when he took issue with Dr. J.
Larry was complaining to the refs, and I was complaining to the refs, and the next time down the court, he got in my face.
I was up 38-6. That's how I summarize it. I don't want to get into the details, but I wasn't happy with the way things were going on.
Only if you knew that Larry Bird was a world-class taunter and provocateur would you understand what happened next.
I felt like he was going to hit me, you know? So my hands went up and his went up, and the next thing I know, we had each other's necks.
Larry Bird. Nah, this is crazy, man. This is absolutely wild. Well, we gonna go ahead and stop it there, guys. If you guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. It's your boy Neal, out.